SST is a major contributor to state revenue. Further discounts introduced. Sarawak to establish trade and tourism HQ in Pontianak. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Lorenzo Isaac and this is TVS Nightline. Sales and Service Tax (SST) collected by the state, especially from the oil and gas sector, remains as the biggest contributor to the overall state revenue. Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, revealed that the SST collected from crude oil and liquefied natural gas since January 1st, 2019 amounted to 8.52 billion ringgit so far.
The SST collected from crude oil and liquefied natural gas since 1st January 2019 has become the major contributor to our revenue, amounting to 8.52 billion to date, from the 11.01 billion of the overall SST collected thus far.
Abang Johari added that the Commercial Settlement Agreement (CSA) signed by Petronas and Petros on December 7, 2020 gave Petros a role to regulate and monitor oil, mining and exploration in all mainland areas of Sarawak. Several proud achievements have been achieved by Petros, including a 29-year-old contract for Sarawak Coastal Block SK433 Adong Kecil in Mirip Marudi area to drive the growth of downstream industries, power generation and petrochemical hubs in Bintulu.
We are able to control the distribution of gas, including LPG, under the Distribution of Gas Ordinance. For information of this August House, LPG is a control item and the price of LNG is fixed for the whole Malaysia under the Control of Supplies Act 1961.
He added that the price of households' LPG has been subsidized up to 50% by the federal government, and the current controlled price for cylinders containing 14 kilograms of LPG is at 26 ringgit 60 cents compared to the market price of about 59 ringgit and 80 cents, which measures up to 14 kilograms. The soaring cost of living in the country has become increasingly worrisome among its people. Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said that this was due to the current geopolitical tension that leads to imported inflation and the ringgit performance against the US dollars, which had declined 0.7% in the first quarter of 2022. To sustain an assured standard of living, the Sarawak government will introduce discounts on electricity tariffs to food producers and retailers in Sarawak to ease the cost of running their respective business.
Such intervention was introduced following its concern about the rising cost of living.
Malaysia's weakening currency will increase import prices, burdening both consumers and importers. As Malaysia is a net importer of food, the imported inflation has caused higher food price domestically. Therefore, most of this is beyond Sarawak government's control. For this reason, Sarawak government will intervene within our power and means to cushion the impact of rising costs of living, especially on food prices, onto the rakyat.
He said this when delivering his winding-up speech at the State Legislative Assembly Dune sitting on Thursday. He added that the discount would benefit the coffee shops, restaurants, as well as other food and beverages industry.
For this, I will introduce discount on electricity tariff to our food producers and retailers, including coffee shops, restaurants, and other food and beverages industry, in order to reduce their costs of doing business. Therefore, I expect it will mitigate or normalize market price of food.
Against this backdrop, Abang Johari said Sarawak government's efforts to transform its agriculture sector to become a net food exporter under PCDS 2030 would eventually provide farm-to-table food security and self-sufficiency level (SSL) for Sarawak.
Sarawak is pursuing to establish its Trade and Tourism Office in Pontianak as Indonesia moves its capital city to Kalimantan. This is part of the state's initiative to revive cross-border trade with Indonesia, particularly West Kalimantan.
Will be our main priority. We need to develop our resources in complementing with Indonesia on a win-win situation.
Premier of Sarawak Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said this when delivering his winding-up speech at the State Legislative Assembly Dun sitting on Thursday. To strengthen Sarawak's position as ASEAN's powerhouse and to continue to contribute to the ASEAN Power Grid initiative, Abang Johari said Sarawak will continue to supply its surplus of electricity, especially through hydropower and hydrogen. In terms of cross-border accessibility, more border exit and entry points will be established via road access and integrated customs, immigration, quarantine, and security facilities.
There are plans to upgrade strategic exit and entry points in the northern and central regions of Sarawak into international gateways to facilitate better movement of people and enhance our border trade. Nevertheless, border security must be our utmost priority. Therefore, we are working closely with the federal government to strengthen our border control.
At the same time, Sarawak will also strengthen economic collaboration with Brunei Darussalam through various sectors including telecommunication, energy, trade, tourism, and agriculture.
For the first quarter of 2022, Sarawak's inflation rate was recorded at 1.9%, and the state may continue to see an upward trend in its inflation trend. According to Deputy Premier of Sarawak, Dato' Amar Douglas Ugahambas, food and non-alcoholic beverages remains as the main contributor to inflation.
For the first quarter of 2022, Sarawak inflation rate was at 1.9%. Food and non-alcoholic beverages remain the main contributor to the inflation. Being a net food importer, Sarawak may continue to see upward trend in inflation in 2022, coupled with the pressure from escalating world price if the conflict of Russian and Ukrainian prolonged.
Ugah noted that the rate was slightly better than in 2021, where Sarawak's inflation rate was at 2.1%, though in 2020, deflation was at 1.8% due to higher transportation costs and food and non-alcoholic beverage costs. On labor market, Ugah expects it to improve, expedited by the continued normalization of the economic sector.
However, in 2022, we expect labour market conditions to improve, underpinned by the expectation of continued normalization in economic activity. For the first quarter of 2022, that unemployment rate in Sarawak is reported at 3.2%, compared to 4.7% during the same period last year, respectively. Over the last 2 years, majority of retrenchment were in food and hotel services, wholesale, retail, and construction industry.
In 2020, a total of 3,002 employees were retrenched and 3,765 employees experienced salary reductions. Whereas in 2021, 1,035 and 2,167 employees were retrenched and experienced salary reductions respectively.
The Sarawak government has allocated 30 billion ringgit to implement 1,093 projects under the 12th Malaysian Plan. Deputy Premier Dato' Ahmad Douglas Ugahambas said of the total, 737 are physical projects, while the remainder are non-physical projects involving grants, contributions, investments, programs and events.
As of 31st March 2022, out of 737 physical projects, 103 projects or 14% has been completed, while remaining 634 projects or 86% are still at the various stage of implementation. The cumulative expenditure from year 2021 up to 31st March 2022 was Ringgit Malaysia 6.90 billion or 23% against the total Third Malaysia Plan ceiling.
At the same time, Uga, who is also the second Minister for Finance and New Economy, said a total of 3.34 billion ringgit has been approved by the central government under the first rolling plan 2020 to 2021 to implement 921 projects. Of the total, 1.97 billion ringgit or 59.11% has been utilized as of December 31st, 2021, and the projects are currently in various stages of implementation. Meanwhile, a total of 4.19 billion ringgit has been approved under the second rolling plan 2022 to 2023 to implement 914 projects, of which 412 of them are new projects. For the first quarter of this year, 430.44 million ringgit or 12.85% has been utilized.
The welfare of Paralympians will continue to be a priority of the state's government through a support system and the provisions of additional allowances.
Dan kita telah membantu OKU melalui sistem sokongan yang sewajarnya, khusus melalui pemberian allowance latihan kepada atlet. Sebab saya tahu bahawa OKU kita kebanyakannya tidak mempunyai pekerjaan yang tetap. Ada yang bekerja sebagai pekerja harian. Kalau hari itu mereka terpaksa berlatih, maka mereka tidak akan dibayar gaji sebab tidak bekerja. Tetapi hakikatnya mereka perlu wang untuk pengangkutan, untuk sewa rumah, untuk makan dan minum. Jadi kita berterima kasih kepada kerajaan kerana prihatin terhadap kebajikan OKU kita.
Fatima added that as one of the preparations for SUKMA 2022, the Paralympians team had started attending special workshops. Additionally, there are also efforts to identify new talents.
Langkah yang kita buat juga perlu supaya kita dapat merancang latihan sukan yang rapi serta teratur dan sistematik untuk memastikan bahawa atlet kita dalam tip-top condition. Bengkel tersebut digunakan untuk mengenal pasti bakat yang dapat digilap dengan teliti untuk menjadi seorang jago.
She was met during the Ramadhamah Raya Gawai 2022 ceremony themed Sarawak OKU Sports Powerhouse of Malaysia at the Borneo Convention Centre, Kuching BCCK on Wednesday.
Coming up right after the break, connecting market research to business, child in viral photo, not monkeypox. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. As technology advances even greater, it's important for the people to take advantage of it. A 4-day commercialization workshop organized by STEC allows researchers to be exposed to the technology commercialization landscape in Malaysia, as well as business model canvas and other tools that are necessary for the researchers to understand the commercial journey. STEC Technology Accelerator Program STACC 2022 aspires to move from academic research to implementation to commercialization purpose of implementation. Therefore, STACC aims to assist, facilitate and accelerate the commercialization of research projects produced by university researchers.
This is a way for STEC to assist the local researchers from local universities to commercialize their product and bring out their product to the market to be implemented, right? So rather than just publishing papers or achieving some KPIs for conferences, now they will be able to bring their products to the market, create new businesses out of it, and create more jobs.
The data gathered would ease particular products to enter the market, tapping into new businesses and creating new job opportunities. Hafiz opined that the approach is similar to the big tech companies' practices, which emphasize on product development and ensuring once a product is rolled out, all scientific aspects are validated. Therefore, the program provides insight, awareness with the potential at bringing research output to the market, at the same time providing industry solutions. One of the participants, a professor from the Faculty of Resource Science and Technology, Dr. Edmund Ui Hang Sim, said that this workshop has helped scientists to identify the criteria of an entrepreneur.
Our project is about allowing the people to be able to know their risks. We are not diagnosing them, yes or no, but to know their risks. What is the risk of getting cancer? So we are developing an online toolkit for people to be able to access their own risks. And this will be very helpful because once people can access their risk, they can decide what they want to do. If their risk is low, then that's good news. If their risk is high, then they can go and regular medical checkup, go to see the doctors and get more opinions and do better tests.
Meanwhile, a fresh graduate from Swinburne University, Dennis said that he hopes to able to learn how to validate whether his product will be able to integrate into the market.
My hope for this program is that I hope that because as you know, we are researchers, right? We do not know how to actually commercialize our technology. So I hope I can gain from this program is to gain a proper product validation, to know whether or not my product is worth it, can be commercialized. And I also hope that I can get a proper market validation to know whether or not my technology can be integrated into the market or not.
A senior lecturer, Dr. Azilawati Banchit, expressed his gratitude to be able to learn and step into the real world even as a researcher.
The thing is, the problem with researchers, we don't know how to sell. We know how to do research, we teach in class, we sell to our students, but here I get a lot of new information, especially the new tools, and I thank SDAC and TDC for this opportunity. Furthermore, I also meet a lot of the other researchers from other universities.
The child who was allegedly infected with monkeypox in a viral posting was in fact tested positive for hand, foot and mouth disease HFMD. Health Director General Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, who confirmed the matter, said although the earlier diagnosis was HFMD, 2 samples from the 3-year-old were sent to the National Public Health Laboratory for further testing. The results came back confirming that the child was tested negative for monkeypox and other viruses. However, was tested positive for the Coxsackie, a 16 virus, which confirms it is a case of HFMD. As of Tuesday, the Health Ministry said it had not received any information on claims that a child was infected with monkeypox. It was responding to a photograph that went viral on social media, which showed a child with large blisters on his hands, apparently after being infected with monkeypox. The government will step up monitoring at all international gateways into Malaysia to prevent the spread of monkeypox in the country. Deputy Health Minister Datuk Dr. Nur Ghazali said the Disease Control Division of the Ministry of the Health had been asked to identify and collect samples of those entering with country with symptoms of the disease. Ghazali said screening tests, including temperature checks, will be conducted for passengers from countries exposed to the virus. At the same time, he said there had been no case of monkeypox recorded in the country so far, but advised those having fever and rash to seek immediate treatment at the health clinics. The monkeypox virus has attacked several countries, including Canada, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, France, Italy, the United States, Switzerland, and Austria. The World Health Organization (WHO) has confirmed over 100 positive cases of the virus reported worldwide. Thank you for staying with me. Following the rise in commodities price, Malaysia's economy is growing strongly, and if needed, central bankers still have room to tighten their monetary policy in the effort to tackle accelerating inflation. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said the economy gained speed in the first quarter of this year as the country dropped most virus restrictions. As such, that allowed central bank room to raise borrowing costs this month to preemptively fight inflation, even though consumer prices are gaining at the slowest rate in Southeast Asia. Additionally, he added that the ringgit is now trading at a comfortable rate. The country's high vaccination rate, Bank Negara Malaysia is estimating the economy to quicken anywhere between 5.3% and 6.3% in 2022 from a year ago. However, risks to that outlook remain in the form of global tensions, especially the war in Europe. On a separate note, it was reported that Malaysian vehicle sales will slow for the remainder of 2022 as the ongoing global semiconductor shortage limits the ability of automakers to ramp up production to meet robust demand. Fitch Solutions Country Risks and Industry Research said the resumption of the sales and service tax SST after June 2022 will lead to higher vehicle prices, which in turn provide downside risks to strong demand buoyed by the easing of movement restrictions, a recovering labor market, and improving economic activity. Meanwhile, citing the Malaysian Automotive Association MAA, Fitch Solutions said total vehicle sales expanded by 8% year-on-year YOY for January to April 2022. However, the firm said that in April 2022, sales experienced a decline of 3.6% YOY as vehicle sales momentum lost steam. The demand for vehicles remains high, but the low inventory of new vehicles from the two largest automakers by volume will continue to limit total sales. Malaysia's two largest automakers, Perodua and Proton, have stated that they battle to ship vehicles to consumers amid a supply chain crunch related to the chip shortage. Therefore, it has been reported that the Malaysian automotive industry will remain in a challenging environment for the remainder of the year. Gold is often held as a hedge against inflation, increasing in value as the purchasing power of the ringgit declines. Set your alarm for Sejahtera Asia with hosts Gus and Wan Alif at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow with a gold store owner, Puan Sheila Hamidi, which will bring the answer to that question. Is gold an inflation-proof investment? Right here on TVS, Astro Channel 122 and My Preview. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading onto our website at www.tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching.